On this episode, I'll be breaking down the top 10 unsolved and unanswered moments from season 1 and season 2 of our favorite show, From. Before I start, please make sure you like and subscribe for my upcoming interviews, theories, and breakdowns. From unravels the mystery of a nightmarish town that traps all those who enter as unwilling residents fight to keep a sense of normalcy and search for a way out. They must also survive the threats of the surrounding forest, including the terrifying creatures that come out when the sun goes down. In season 2, hidden truths in the nature of terrifying origins begin to emerge, even as life for its residents is plunged into chaos by the arrival of mysterious newcomers. This is the top 10 unsolved and unanswered moments from season 1 and season 2. Number 1, the down tree. One of the first mysteries of the show. Everyone who entered the nightmarish town saw the down tree, except for Jade. And there has been a lot of questions as to how this works and how the loop works. There have been a lot of questions as to how the down tree traps them and how, when they turn from the down tree, they get stuck in the loop that leads them through the town. In the first episode, we see the Matthews family on a heavily traveled highway, then turning off onto a wooded residential road. My question is, did Jim purposely turn off, or once they turned, were they already in Fromville? If they were already in Fromville, were they in the town once they saw the tree, or is it when you see the tree, it's already too late? There's also questions and evidence that when you turn around after seeing the tree and enter the town, that's when you get caught in the loop. Questions have been raised on how the loop works. Is it supernatural? Is it magic? Or is it a dream? The ravens. The raven has been a symbol on the show since episode 1, when they flock a mass of unkindness at the Matthews family by the down tree. There have been subtle nods to them throughout the series, shown as drawings, trailers, and on the clothes of the cast. In an early episode, we saw a rat eating a raven in a cave. When a raven is eating, it signals of death or misfortune, but they can also indicate a change and reversely good fortune. Many times, ravens bring the message of transformation and opportunity. When you see an image of a raven eating, mostly a dead animal, it is often associated with death and bad omens. But in this reverse scenario, when you see the rat eating the raven, it's symbolizing a turn of the tides, and that they are the ones often eating the rats. We see Father Khatri outside the church, his one side day, one side night, with a single raven on the one side. This is also an indication of how much the ravens are built into the show. We also see Elgin step off the bus wearing a shirt with a raven. The creatures, are they humans? Are they monsters? Why do they only come out at night? Why do they sleep in their creature form? Are they playing a game? What is the game? What are the rules to this game? And most importantly, who created this game? There has been speculation that some of the creatures are related to some of the townspeople and Colony House members. There's a picture of Donna and her sister side by side with the creatures on the porch outside the Colony House. The creature with blonde hair and a flannel looks remarkably similar to Donna's sister. Also, the ticket hat guy behind the bride looks a lot like Father Khatri. There was also the scene when the Matthews family, Tabitha and Julie, were running to the Colony House, and outside the door, before Donna let them in, the young man called out Julie's name and asked if she recognized him. Julie looked perplexed, as if she almost did recognize him, but had trouble identifying who he was. Since then, we have not seen this creature again. Since then, Julie has not spoken about if she recognized a creature. What do you think? The doll. Part of the mystery of the symbol has been with Jade and Victor. Jade has seen the symbol multiple times in multiple locations, from the root cellar, the forest, and even in the book. There was a time at the Colony House that Jade saw the doll. Doll appeared next to him in a seemingly jump scare, but Jade screamed back. Another scene with the doll was in season 2 when Victor went to the caves to save Tabitha. In the cave, as they were making their exit, Victor saw the doll. Not able to comprehend what he was looking at, he turned and ran, leaving Tabitha behind. Later, when Jade finds the picture of Christopher, of who we now know as Christopher, with Victor in the background, Jade approaches Victor, and it is revealed to us that this was Christopher. He also saw the symbol and the possibility the doll could be his. There is now also another possibility that Christopher could be the doll in some sort of ghostly supernatural possession. I think Victor's was scared of the doll, seemingly knowing that the doll was seen multiple times in the house from what would have looked like someone moving the doll to different locations and possibly even being in his room. Now we know the doll was moving on its own, and now we know the doll is not one of the townspeople but one of the creatures. What do you think? The symbol and talisman. What do the talismans mean? What does the symbol mean? The director in a behind the scenes episode said the talismans and symbol have meaning that the townspeople don't know yet. The symbol was first seen in season 2 episode 1 in the cave when Victor shined a flashlight on the wall after Tabitha had fell through the basement. From there we saw the symbol. The symbol was seen by Jade in season 1 and then seen again in season 2. There's been some theories by followers and YouTubers that the symbol makes up a collection of the faraway trees, and if you follow the sign, if you follow the message of the cave drawings, it shows the trees being chopped down, turned into boats, and those boats will be the key to escape. But this is just a theory. There is also a theory by YouTuber Taran that the boats are the lost expedition of Kabat. On the cave drawings, the boxes are tarot cards, are a bet from a witch that makes with the devil to save her child. The red monster is a sea monster, a giant lion's mane jellyfish. The small hut is where they keep the witch captive. The red figures are the Bethok people in the red oaks. The house in the cave drawings is the remaining of the Vinland Viking stone lodge. The infinity symbol is the map of Frumland with the 2 time zones. The witch's sun was split into a dark and light side to make up enough players for the tarot game. Both theories are both good, but they're still theories. What do you think the symbol is? What do you think the talismans are? The food. Kenny's mom, Tien, is the head chef who runs the a la carte diner on the edge of town, aka the known world. With excess of coffee, we have seen some animals in the town behind the barn. This small day farm would not be enough to sustain the townspeople and Colony House residents. We know Donna has a garden and grows greens, and we know from the 1-year anniversary party that Fatima grows other type of greens. But this would not be enough to sustain the Colony House and townspeople. Currently on the show, there is a food shortage, and in episode 7, Donna, Tien, and the Matthew family spend time pickling rations. Where do you think they get the food from? The dogs. I covered the dogs in a previous video, so if you want more detail, please watch that. I do want to say that this is still a mystery of where they come from and who is their owner. I initially believed the dogs did not have collars, but looking again, the dogs did have collars. And initially I thought there was just one dog, but I did see that there was different dogs, very similar. Victor has seen the dogs in his flashback, and he has seen them in the current timeline, but has never discussed them. There's a high probability the dog belonged to the other group or the third group of people that either live elsewhere in the forest or live in the lighthouse. Reddit fan pulled a picture of the door of the lighthouse on the set of the TV show. It showed that they indeed did build the structure, so the theory is they will use it on the show, but it's more of a question of when and who will be there. The ghoulish and ghastly kids. We know that from episode 7 that the kids in white were not real, and visions by Tabitha. Before then, she had brief visions of the one ghastly kid in the cave, seemingly in what looked like a jail cell behind wooden bars. Then another outside the barn with Julie, and another on the porch with Ethan. When these visions occurred, they were standing at a distance, holding hands. Initially, they did not speak, but in the most recent flashback, we heard the kids speak in what sounded like them saying Akui. There's been no translation as what this could mean, but I would be willing to guess that it translates into some sort of word or term for mother. When Tabitha was talking to Jade, she said that she believed that she was shown these visions as a torture because she lost her son before they came to the village. And it was a brutal reminder of what she had lost. What are the ghastly kids? What do you think? The faraway trees. It had already been mentioned on the show that the Einstein-Rosen bridge is probably the explanation for how they got to this pocket dimension. The Einstein-Rosen bridge is defined as a wormhole that connects two places instantly through the theory of Einstein and Rosen. But there's also the Einstein-Rosen-Polosky theory that breaks down the physical reality around a person may not be what it seems. Jade has been the main one with this theory. He believes, and he does believe that, and he believes that this theory is true. And in the scene where he's walking to the bar and he's saying this out loud, he's interrupted in a seemingly way to leave you thinking.
Where are you going with that?
Because Trudy said, "Where are you going with that?" Almost a double entendre. Speaking of where's you going with the radio, but also where are you going with that thought. But if there is a scientific explanation for how they got there, is there a scientific explanation to get away from there? What do you think? The Lighthouse. In season 1, we see Boyd and Sarah in the woods, and in the middle of the storm, looking for shelter, they climb to the top of the hill and they see the lighthouse. The lighthouse is over the ridge and seems to have a rotating light, but we don't see any water, but we do hear what sounds like a foghorn. We know, in real life, we know that lighthouses are usually operated by two people. And earlier in season 1, there was a vision of what looked like Tabitha inside the lighthouse, going up steps and dates written on the wall. Was this the same lighthouse? Were these visions connected but different? Will they get to the lighthouse? Like I previously said, there was a picture that surfaced of a built structure on the set that was the base of the lighthouse. So the lighthouse will be used, but when and what? What do you think? The voice on the radio. Early thoughts of the voice on the radio that Jim heard after they set up the antenna was that it was Tom the bartender. He had radio equipment. He knew about Julie, even giving her a shovel. Could he have been the one who identified Jim Matthews? We know now the answer was no. Rest in peace to Tom the bartender, who passed away the night the house fell on Jim after him running to his wife. Was this a third party, a group we have yet to see? If so, how many people are in this group? How did they know Jim's name and what his wife was doing? Was this a creature? We did hear early in season 1 that when someone asked the creature, "How do you know my name?" the creature responded and said, "We know all your names." If it was a creature, how were they able to tap into the frequency? Do they have a radio? We did see them when Victor and Tabitha were in the cave. We did see various objects. Now, one of the objects did look like a radio, but not a two-way radio. Was the voice on the radio Norman from the Chromonocle? Inside of Boyd's police station, there's a map. On that map, there are names of everyone who's come to the town and their location. If you look closely at the map, there is a name Norman. Now, any town member or colony house member that have passed away and deceased, their names were struck through. The name Norman is still on the board and is not crossed out. Does this mean that there's actually a Norman? Does this mean that he is still alive? Does this mean that he could possibly be the person in the lighthouse? But if it was Norman from a previous time in the village, how would he know the current residents? And how would he know his wife? And how would he know what she was doing? Are there spies in the town? This also may connect the theory that we saw in episode 1 when Julie was telling Ethan the story of the Lake of Tears, specifically the character Norman in her story. Does this Norman on the board also mean Norman from the Lake of Tears? And is the Lake of Tears their escape? What do you think? Brian and Kelly. In season 2, episode 3, Tether, Boyd tells Donna the story of his first tour in Iraq, when his platoon drove over an IED and a kid from Ohio they called Smuckers died in his arms. His name was Brian Kelly. The names of the two people killed in that episode in the bar. The creatures took the rebarb and stuck it in Kelly's head and made her watch as they tore Brian apart. Pretty big fucking coincidence, as Boyd put it. This was the only mention of the situation, but as we unravel the layers of the show, we see more coincidences like this. We see Tabitha seeing the visions of the kids, which are a torture to her. We see something from Boyd's past. We see something else from someone else's past. Is whatever is supernatural or magical in this realm able to bring their thoughts to life or bring their thoughts here to this land? What do you think? What dragged Boyd and Sarah? In season 1, episode 10, we know for a fact that Sarah and Boyd were in a tent and that tent was dragged. We saw them pulled and tumbled, but we did not see what grabbed it. They heard the trees moving and they heard something walking. We did not hear an insect-like sound. When they exited the tent, there was spider webs everywhere, and as Boyd walked through the webs after hearing his wife call him, As Boyd walked through the webs, when they exited the tent, there was spider webs everywhere, and as Boyd walked through the webs, he seemingly heard his wife call him. He stepped on a nest and a swarm of spiders came out and crawled over his body. It was confirmed that Boyd was bitten by a spider, and in an even more coincidental twist, spider venom is a known experimental treatment for Parkinson's disease, along with different other venoms, can slow down or even block neural degradation, giving him more time, which was what he was asking for. We did see Boyd wishing for more time, and it seems he got it. What do you think? The death of Father Khatri. Was the creature that killed Father Khatri in the van coming back from the colony house? In a quick shot, we see all the other creatures in human forms walking down the street to the left, a few houses away. How did the creature that killed Father Khatri get so close so quick? The creature that killed him was the waitress. In the episode, she came from the right, but another clue was she wasn't in her human form, which is usually how the creatures walk up to the humans. Now, even if she identified Father Khatri as a long-time towns member, and so she knows she did not have to fool or trick him, but this is the first time we've seen that. But she did speak in her human voice. So what happened? Was she in the van? We don't know. What do you think? The Civil War soldiers. Why specifically show Civil War soldiers? Why were they shooting at Jade when he was clearly not in a uniform? Why were they burned and hanging upside down? Was this the Civil War? We don't know. The credits of that episode did credit that scene as Civil War soldiers. And that we know from history, the Civil War took place in 1865. Going back to the vision Tabitha in the Lighthouse, there was a date of 1864 written on the wall. Is this related? Were they from that time? What do you think? How is any of this real? Questioning the reality of the situation they're in was said multiple times by multiple characters. This was said by Boyd in episode 4, Tether. Said again by Boyd's wife, Abby, in season 1. Said again by Jim in season 2, episode 6. Said by Tabitha, did they survive the crash? Said by Sarah in the tent in season 1, episode 10, and said by Martin chained to the wall in season 2, episode 1. What do you think? Is it a dream? Is it real? Where are they at? Where are they from? Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe for my upcoming videos on From, and we'll see you next episode.